Contains strobing effects.
In the 70s and 80s, only kids played video games. At the same time, only wankers had mobile phones.
Bailey here.
There are only a few thousand cellular phones in use right now. That number is expected to grow considerably within the next few years.
That was then, this is now. The games industry is worth over $90 billion US. With a worldwide audience, one breakout success can make you a fortune overnight. In Australia, one little Brisbane-based company has done just that.
If you want to be successful as a mobile game developer, you absolutely positively need a hit. And Halfbrick had 3 back-to-back. Age of Zombies, Jetpack Joyride, and then they had Fruit Ninja.
Halfbrick never takes itself seriously.
It seemed ridiculous, but good timing, new tech, and a simple but genius idea combined to create Fruit Ninja. The game went batshit and spawned the growth of a global empire.
They went from the bottom of the pile to the top of the pile very, very quickly.
A rockstar business built on friendship and doing what you love.
Radical!
What could possibly go wrong? Brisbane-based game developers Halfbrick Studios have made some of the most popular games in the world.
Gaming is not dead, especially if you like slicing and dicing virtual fruit. Fruit Ninja users have been doing it since 2010, and since then the game has been downloaded more than 500 million times. Wait, 500 million, that's half a billion. I'm still trying to get the numbers straight in my head.
The secret to the company's success is an ethos they call Halfbrick culture.
It isn't just a workplace, everyone's really good friends and we all, hang out outside of work. It's really fun.
It's pretty laid back, pretty easy, I guess. Get to walk around without shoes, so that's always fun.
Okay. For 4 years we've been playing poker, and there's a couple of us that haven't won yet. We're saving it up.
It's kind of mostly all I know in terms of working in a professional environment, although I wouldn't call it that professional.
Founded in 2001, Halfbrick is not just wildly successful, it's a geek's paradise.
I really like that people think that we're like this cool little independent company. We're not like a big corporation or anything.
So we want to make sure we always have that same feel within the company, and that's what we've built ourselves from, and that's been working so far. So don't ever want to become real corporate.
It's no exaggeration to say, we're the leader that everyone in Australia, either wants to work at or wants to be like.
In the late 1990s and early 2000s, Brisbane was the surprising epicentre of a boom in the Australian games industry. A low Aussie dollar was the honeypot, attracting scores of local and international games companies to the city.
The Queensland video game industry is on the rise.
There's been a lot of analogies between what's going on here and what went on in California maybe 25 years ago.
The studios were desperate to hire young talent. One guy with big dreams formed Halfbrick Studios.
I wanted to create a company that would be the ideal sort of place to work.
I've called Chloe up on stage because she's leveled up.
I want to make sure that we are the #1 developer in the world. Obviously, success is one of my motivators always. I'm very competitive, but it's not always success at all costs. I want to do it in the right way, and I want to do it in a way where everyone sort of benefits here as well.
I don't know where Chanel's ambition comes from. It must just be, I think it's just a part of who he is. He's one of those people who just has that vision and can just sort of see things further ahead than anyone else can.
In the early years, Shaz found these 3 right-hand guys who formed the backbone of the company.
I don't understand art. Art seems stupid.
Luke Muscat is team leader of the Ninja Pack and designer of the company's most successful game to date, Fruit Ninja.
Luke's very focused and dedicated. He knows exactly what he wants too, right?
We want to make things that are fun to play, that we have fun playing and that other people have fun playing. That's the only reason anyone who's in this building right now is here.
Next up is Ben Vale, known as Baz.
You know what everyone said, like when we were making that game? They're like, I don't understand the rocks floating in midair. Yeah. This is like, it's a game. That's it.
He runs a team of Halfbrick veterans, known as the Voltrons.
Defender of the universe.
For our name, we just wanted something that suits the kind of stuff that we grew up on and the kind of stuff that we like.
And the winner for most fun this year?
You know, I have a lot of respect for Baz. Baz has been there for a long time. He knows Halfbrick.
I guess I have been there for 10 years, so Halfbrick has been a huge part of my life. I'm always kind of thinking about work, you know, trying to make sure it stays the kind of the place that I like and the kind of culture that I like to work in.
Finally, there is the marketing chief, Phil. He joined the company as a one-man marketing department. Phil's warmth and natural tact makes him a great fit for this fun-loving company.
Thumbs down for me. I don't think this game will ever make any money. Like, you should just end it.
And his approach to making game trailers is unique. Halfbrick started out at the bottom of the gaming food chain, making games on a shoestring for the bigger, wealthier developers.
It was just a nightmare. We were working like 13-hour days, like 7 days a week. I guess no one was really in charge of the company.
We were working contract to contract and I was getting paid significantly less than if I was just working at Coles.
So we were a work-for-hire company. You know, we were a straight-up developer. That's all we did was develop games.
By 2007, Halfbrick had 30 staff, and Shaz began to implement plans for his ultimate goal, to create original games.
The Americans are calling it Meltdown Monday. The collapse of banking institution Lehman Brothers and the fire sale of Merrill Lynch shook the foundations of the financial system.
It is very much a mood of shock and upset, really.
We're now in the fear phase of the market. Everybody's scared.
We are presently facing the gravest economic crisis globally in any of our lifetimes.
The global financial crisis kicked the US economy's ass. As the stock market dived, the companies Halfbrick relied on for work collapsed or left town.
One by one, all the big studios closed down. And there's Halfbrick, which we all presume is next. Its days are numbered and possibly in single digits.
By the end of 2009, it looked like Halfbrick's dream was over. And just when the shit was only inches from the fan, a new opportunity opened up.
An iPod. A phone. Are you getting it? These are not 3 separate devices. This is one device.
The iPhone was about to go global, and with every sale, a gaming console went into the pockets of millions of consumers. The iPhone's App Store allowed game makers to directly distribute their work, reducing the cost for game creators and cutting out the middleman. Shaz decided to take a punt on the iPhone. Created by Luke in 2010, this simple mobile game was a final throw of the dice to keep the company afloat.
Fruit Ninja came from like wanting to have a slashing, like a fast finger movement across the screen. I'd seen like late night infomercials about like sharp knives.
Introducing the next generation of Miracle Blade knives.
I'd done that at home with my partner with tomatoes when we bought new knives, and that all kind of just fell into place.
It was really a short development period. 6 months actual development, then 6 weeks. We were playing it at the time, so there's a lot of excitement at Halfbrick. But still, even back then, it seemed like the App Store was like a lottery, rolling the dice. Every time we release a game, throughout the studio, everyone's there on iTunes watching the charts. Refresh. 2 minutes, refresh. 1 minute, refresh. Refresh.
First day, 100 sales. So that was pretty exciting for us because we were making $200 a month on indies. So $100 a day was, whoa. Next day it was about 300. It's like, whoa, this is going somewhere. We had hit 1,000 copies on day 5. Little did we know that by, the second or the third week, we would be making like $20,000
Yeah, $20,000
a day. And that's when we're like, whoa, we don't know what to do now.
Start paying me again.
Yeah.
Shaz's punt paid off big time. And the internet went mad for Fruit Ninja.
Real life Fruit Ninja. Take one.
And when the game exploded, it started an endless cycle of updates and revisions to meet the crazy demands for Fruit Ninja. And it finished with Luke developing the studio's next hit, Jetpack Joyride, which then went nuts as well. And when the dust settled as a reward, Shaz took the whole company to Fiji. Back to his roots for the ultimate Halfbrick cultural experience. And the money just kept pouring in.
With the success of Fruit Ninja, everybody wanted that game, on every platform imaginable. And it was really hard to say no to all of those. And I wasn't used to saying no. So we signed up for all of these things, and it created a lot of strain and tension, on the company.
We didn't have that pressure as much pre-Fruit Ninja because no one knew who we were. But now there's this expectation, and it kind of gets higher every time, the stakes keep going up.
It is the second most downloaded game on the App Store ever, behind Angry Birds. But we can't, rest on our laurels. We have to keep moving forward and keep making new games and keep, taking risks. The next step is to go bigger than Fruit Ninja.
The pressure to stay ahead of the curve is intense in an industry where change is high speed. The revolution is a shift from paid games, like Fruit Ninja, to free games, like Candy Crush Saga.
Sweet.
Games is a technology industry. Technology changes, change is inherently disruptive, and I think it's impossible for any of us to comfortably say we can build a business on what was true yesterday and that will be true tomorrow.
For game makers, the relationship between technical innovation and gameplay has always been an experiment. With so many devices and platforms entering a constantly evolving market, it's critical to stay ahead of the trends and ride the wave of the next big thing. To adapt to this free-to-play market, Shaz has cancelled all other work for a month, so the entire company can prototype new games. They're pitched in a group session called Halfbrick Friday.
Okay guys, so we've got 12 games to go through. There's a boxing round timer down here that's going to let you know when your 5-minute round is up by the sound of a bell. If you go over those 5 minutes, I will punch you.
Halfbrick Friday came about when we were trying to make the change from work for hire, and we needed to create our own IP. But it's very hard to find the time to work on your own IP when you're doing work for hire jobs. So what we decided to do was dedicate some time every Friday working on our own projects. Literally anyone in the company can pitch an idea, from our CFO to our admin. It doesn't have to be a designer, it can come from anywhere.
Well, traverse random enemy filled dungeons with only your cat for protection.
Radical Rapid Rope Rappel Racer. So Finger Singing is a game that has been around in my head for a while.
This is Bears versus Art. We have our awesome bear here.
Who hasn't heard of it before? You're an idiot.
On this level, we need to destroy all the art in 5 moves or less. This is where Renal is. He sucks at this game.
We're focusing on free-to-play, freemium games. So we need to build in all of the core loops that make a game a freemium game. At the same time, we need to build a fun game as well.
And that's how we kind of, get the money. And it's fun.
When you think back to the history of video games, many of the kind of absolute all-time greats were arcade games. And many of the arcade games were designed explicitly to get you interested enough, then they would ramp up in difficulty and end the game. And then you would have to put in more money. That was a kind of a business model that a lot of the kind of cultural history of games was developed on.
But getting the money in free-to-play games does bring up some age-old controversies.
There's a call tonight for urgent regulation of so-called free apps that end up costing parents hundreds of dollars on their iTunes accounts.
Over a 3-day period, Sylvia had managed to rack up a bill of almost $600. These things are just literally kiddie crack.
There is that worry about manipulating players and trying to trick them into handing over money. A lot of people, including myself, have questioned some of the games out there where it's like, you play for a little while and it's hitting you up for more money and more money and more money. There's kind of sleazy characteristic to some of those games, but there are games that use the same exact business model that seem perfectly sort of fair and reasonable as well.
Korea, Japan and China are the home of free-to-play games, but the business model has spread to the West, fueled by the growth of the mobile games market.
But the folks who actually spend money are those with a minute to kill, because they play the game for 30 seconds and they want to play it again. And then they're willing to spend 99 cents to reduce the timer so that they can keep playing the game. That's where all that money is made. Millions of 99 cents.
Free-to-play games could be the key to Halfbrick's future, but industry veterans like Baz aren't so sure.
I just want to play the game for what it is. I don't want to be interrupted and try and solve things. I don't want anything to take away from the game experience, especially if it's taking me out of the game flow to try and make money out of me somehow.
With growing reservations, Baz continues to assess new games at Halfbrick Friday.
So you have more than just Ghost now?
Yes, so I've actually got this guy unlocked, so he's got these stats, so kind of like a minimum he starts with and a maximum he can get to.
The monetization side is customizing the heroes themselves.
Just go to the thrift shop now. You can theme it around Christmas or something, have Christmas carols.
As a free-to-play game, it's pretty cool if the songs are way shorter.
So we want to make the game feel like a social network.
Yeah, I am a bit of a dinosaur. I grew up paying for games. The fact that I can pay 99 cents for a game that I can play for weeks is amazing compared to when we were growing up and we're paying $50 for the same kind of thing. I guess I'm just used to the way it was before.
Lots of developers would rather make a piece of work than build a service that exists to extract money out of people over time.
You've got to have ads in your game, you've got to have a lot of things that are convinced people to make purchases. It's hard for us to understand. We just want to make games that will have a set price and then everyone will just be happy after that.
Thanks, buddy.
Although Baz and Shaz aren't seeing eye to eye, there is some good news. Shaz has greenlit the retro-style game Baz pitched for Halfbrick Friday.
So it's an abseil racing game. Yeah. but you're radical. We're doing everything in this program called Unity. We can like pause the game at any time, and this is the game running at the moment. And then we can start grabbing things and like moving them around, and then continue the gameplay from there. You can set high scores and you can get combos by jumping over rocks. Also, if you die in the game, you just fall forever until you hit the retry button. And while he's just constantly falling, we're going to have like his body like bouncing off all these rocks.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Then that way, if you die, it's still rewarding because you're watching this ragdoll fall down a cliffside.
Yep.
All right, let's see. So one button game.
Yep.
I died straight away.
That's right. The death is hilarious. So, in the single player mode, we're going to have hats. Like that's where all the monetization comes in, like buying back into the tier that you got up to, or buying those hats. There's actually quite addictive single player as well.
Exactly.
Super simple, no instruction, and everything starts with the letter R. That's important to us as well.
Yeah, thumbs up.
To do it Shaz's way and make the new game free to play is an uphill battle. And Baz and the Voltrons aren't completely on board.
I mean, honestly, like what I'd really like to try and do with the game is make it a $1.99 game. That's pretty much like the opposite of what we're being told to do at the moment. So it's going to be a hard sell. But if it only takes like 3 months, 4 months to make the game, then it'll make it back in no time. So what does that matter?
When we started out, the paid model was the dominant model, but now it's less than 5% of the market, and 95% is like free to play. So if we don't move to what's happening, with the times, then we're just going to become irrelevant and extinct.
If the new direction isn't hard enough, the arrival of a new player is another cause for concern.
Because the characters, I think it's Tuesday next week, we need to have everything like visually logged for the purposes of the mini Bible. So
Sam's role at Halfbrick is taking our intellectual property and expanding it to other mediums such as TV and film.
So the big change was Han. His hair just wasn't current enough, wasn't cool enough. Yeah, we sort of said it should be more Bieber than Dawson, so a bit more current.
He doesn't look ninja anymore. It looks like a Western knight.
We made a broader decision, I guess, that these characters didn't have to be a fruit. So we didn't have to try so hard to make Han look like an apple, which is kind of awkward.
When you bring in outside people, you get differences in vision.
Like, why are we doing this now and saying, okay, well, let's have these characters in the game, but let's keep making different versions of those characters because they're going to change anyway. Like, we're just making it more complicated for ourselves.
Look, I mean, being on the inside of this development, the characters are still the same characters. It's just we're making them look more exciting.
I can see what the difference is between those characters and the characters in the websites. They're completely fucking different.
They're not that different, Phil.
Yeah,
you're exaggerating, mate.
It's not an easy situation to navigate, really.
It's very important that the characters in the game should be the same as the ones in the TV series, because they're not just going to be flat characters wearing clothes. They're going to have personality.
Well, that's the other thing. Is we're talking about the TV series as if it's happening.
Yeah.
We're looking in about 3 months to have the show financed.
Well,
and then we go into pre-production, right? So
that's the thing. That's easy for you to say. It's not easy for Marinade to say, who's supposed to be designing a game with these characters right now. The idea is that Halfbrick would always want creative control over this kind of stuff. And if we're sitting here going, okay, let's make these characters better based on, various reasons and, for the ultimate purpose of, say, a TV show, but let's just make them different for it's just a fucking mess.
Change is always hard. When you're aligned and you're doing the same thing, that's great. But when you have different competing goals and visions, it's very difficult to make that work and keep it working. Halfbrick has always been focused on Western markets, but for the last 18 months or so, I've really been focusing on China. You just look at the games market here, it's just growing at a phenomenal rate. Yeah, we've seen our presence and our market share in Western markets has declined, whereas China's just been increasing, and there's no signs of that sort of stopping.
The Chinese games business rules the global industry, worth over $22 billion each year. The pressure is on Shaz to win over this market to grow his company's success.
Hey, David. How you going?
Asia is the gold mine today. So, you are beginning to see a lot of Western developers customizing and localizing their games for China. If he wants to be successful in China, he has to be in China.
Are you guys going to be around Saturday?
Yeah, you have your Microsoft party or something, I heard. Top secret? Where's my invitation?
We could do better than that. How's that?
That's true. Better than that?
We could do better than that.
When we decided to bring the Xbox One console into China, we were tasked with identifying family-friendly games. And Fruit Ninja came to mind almost immediately.
Hi, I'm Paul.
Hi, Paul. I'm Brendan. I'm Neil. Nice to meet you.
Michael, nice to meet you.
Fruit Ninja has brand recognition in China. When you put a Chinese kid in front of Xbox and Fruit Ninja comes out, they don't need to learn. They stand in front, immediately they know what they have to do. They just move their hands and they're just slicing fruit.
Nice to meet you, I'm Mei.
That meeting is basically to walk Chenille through the content approval process here in China.
So Fruit Ninja is undergoing soft review at this point in time.
Yep.
I don't think there has been any red flags so far.
Okay.
Games that don't do well in China are games that go against the Chinese government. So anything that has political, religious tones or themes will never make it.
I mean, blood's an issue too, right?
Blood is not an issue if it doesn't collect on the ground.
Yeah.
Killing is not a problem if the corpse disappears within 3 seconds.
Right. Yep.
Okay, no beheading, no chopping of limbs, no wanton killing of wildlife.
Yep.
So Rise is pretty much stuffed.
Yeah, rice is stuffed. Pretty much everything is stuffed.
Yeah.
His game was approved to be displayed at China Joy, which is really a soft approval from the Chinese government.
China Joy is the world's largest gaming event.
China Joy is actually a consumer-based show that highlights all the new games that are coming out in the Chinese market. We managed to get ahead of the pack with China just because of the success of Fruit Ninja.
In China, developers must navigate a labyrinth of thousands of distribution networks. Success is impossible without a Chinese partner with local knowledge. Fortunately, Chenille found one of those without even trying.
I remember when I first got his email, I started spamming his mailbox, and he thought it was a spam.
Jeff from My Dream Sky probably called me 20 times, before I finally sat down and spoke to him.
Chenille was really hard for me to contact.
It was their persistence, really, that helped us get into China when we did.
And he, trusted me and gave me his game to publish in China. Fruit Ninja was the brand that started the iRoom Sky publishing brand. iRoom Sky would not be here if there were no Halfbrick, right?
Jeff Linden. It's almost like a Hong Kong movie star crossed with a super geek.
Oh, with no hands.
Oh, that's so lame, Jeff. He's got plastic gloves.
When we started Item Sky, we were just 4 people. We rented an apartment, and we started working. But since then, Item Sky has been growing like exponentially fast. We have over 100 million monthly active users in 2014. Our revenue is growing exponentially. We moved the office I think 8 times already. Our company size grew like 600 people.
In the early days, the revenue wasn't really there, but for the last 18 months, that's grown month on month, and now it's 40% of our business, and I think it's going to exceed that going forward. 70% to us of gross. We've seen each other's businesses grow off the back of what we created with Fruit Ninja, and there's a lot of trust and a lot of goodwill that you build up there.
Cheers.
Shaz wants to make the most of Fruit Ninja's phenomenal success in China. In Shanghai, he's meeting with new startup Citrus Joy. They've developed a free-to-play game that Shaz wants to publish.
The Brisbane team make amazing games, and they're really strong at gameplay and gameplay mechanics. The Chinese developers are amazing at retention and monetization. If we can marry those two, then that can lead to a lot of success in China. In the last 2-3 years, I've probably been out of the country 6 months of the year. When I go away, my kids ask me, why do you have to travel here? And can you not go? Can you stay? How long will you be gone for? And can you come back earlier? All of these things. So they're hard questions to answer. There's no easy way to make them understand. When you got a young family and you're trying to build a business, it's really, really difficult. It just consumes you, and everything you do, it's always on your mind, right? You can never sort of switch off. It was that year that we got married, we started a family, we started Halfbrick as well, so it's all at once, it's whoa. We were subsisting off a scholarship that Rose got to do a PhD, $19,000 a year, so we were living off that. Any money that came into the company we were keeping there to pay other people and keep going. The main thing that I sacrifice is time with the people I love. I think that's what it comes down to.
Jeff's persistence paid off. After only 3 years, the relationship with iDream Sky is one of Halfbrick's most important. And Jeff's high-flying deal-making has had a big influence on Chenille.
Being at the NASDAQ for a company that you're involved with being listed is pretty cool.
Welcome everyone for coming to iDream Sky IPO ceremony.
We believe the next breed of Chinese companies should bring themselves out of China. So globalization is definitely one of the key things that iDream Sky is definitely looking forward to. But as a publisher, you need more cash flow to address the market. So either we sell or either we go IPO.
And you're going to sign your name to the podium, so you can actually sign that for me, okay?
When you float on the NASDAQ, you're taking a private company and you're making it available for the general public to actually buy shares. Our involvement really is as a shareholder. And seeing one of the partner companies get listed on the NASDAQ is pretty amazing. It's an easy way to make money, let's just say that. Need to do more of this. Cheers, bro. Cheers. How's it taste? Pretty sweet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it feels a lot like the wedding.
Yesterday was a pretty emotional day for me, really. I was surprised. I felt really flat in the morning for some reason. The ceremony was pretty emotional for me too, just seeing what an achievement it was for them to list their company. For them, there's a point where they built their company and they'd IPO'd and, you know, this is an exit and it's closure. Whereas for me, like, because I don't have like an exit strategy or an end goal, it's like ongoing. Like you achieve a goal and then you move on to the next one and it's quite tiring and exhausting. I think for me, like the last 3 years have been really traumatic with, I guess, my relationship with Rose sort of, you know, breaking, you know, down and yeah, just that family sort of situation breaking down, that's been really tough and very difficult. And, you know, I like to, I like to succeed, I like to be successful. And I think sometimes you find that you can't be successful in everything. And, you know, life's not always perfect.
Back in Brisbane, Shaz and Baz are increasingly at odds.
So these are the pillars of our game. Rock solid pillars is that it's a one-handed ad break game. It's ridiculous, not realistic, and it's re-engaging and redictive. Redictive is radically addictive. That's a new one.
Sounds good. And is your game going to be free as well?
Yeah, we want to make it a free game.
All right, and so you've got a few things there that you listed that you could pay for?
Yeah, so paying for consumable items, paying to unlock new levels.
Yep, and you know, cross promo is something that you guys are going to have. And analytics is something that you guys are going to need to have. So there's going to be some things that we just need to have.
I just wanted to put it out there.
Well, currently there's a MOS list that tells you what you need to put in.
I guess we've kind of come up with this term called MOS, which is minimal, operationally smarter something. So it's basically like the kind of things we need to put in our games to be smart now. Putting things like ads in, putting things like cross-promotion and news is like a big one. So if we do bring something out, we can tell everyone that's playing Fruit Ninjas, like, hey, you know, Halfbrick's brought out a new game. Putting systems like that in, that's, I guess, what MOS is all about.
Yeah, in terms of cross-promo, it's a no-brainer. Like, if we send you guys traffic, then you guys need to be able to send traffic back to our network.
Most of that was Shanil's idea. What is in MOS kind of changes all the time. We need more and more things. It takes like a lot of work to do them nicely. And even then, it's hard to make them not get in the way of the design you have for the game. So from a game point of view, I think everyone wishes we could just sell games for money instead of doing this whole free approach.
You know, I agree with your goals, but at the same time, we need to work with the longer-term company goals as well.
For me, it's really just like how we're doing them. I mean, I definitely thought that like putting BrickNet into Clostron was like a massive pain in the ass. I had like 6 weeks at the end that was nothing but fixing like BrickNet stuff. And like all of the features that are added, like no one's using those, and really in the end we're giving the users less than what we would have given them if we just used something else.
You know, it's quite easy for him to get like disconnected sometimes or not really see all the problems that we're having like on the base kind of game level. The more stuff that he takes on, the more disconnected he is from, you know, the heart of the company, which is making games.
So for me, like it's like maybe all these systems are, hey, are we doing things the best we could to be, you know, operationally smart?
With that project, I felt personally that stakeholder feedback was not really regarded highly at all. And so eventually it was just like a waste of time giving you guys feedback because you just had your blinkers on and were doing whatever you guys were doing. because of where I've been trying to take the company and where Baz is at and what he likes, there's been, I guess, differences of opinion, and there's been, you know, I guess our relationship isn't as close as it used to be. I mean, that's my biggest challenge and frustration sometimes.
All right, sweet. Okay.
But I think with any transition or any change, there's always some people think that you're selling out and you're doing something that's just too foreign.
People are always tough, right? Everything else is easy. It's just people are tough.
It's now 5 years since the company's last big hit. With over 100 employees, overheads are huge. Until now, team leaders had a say in company decisions. But those days are done. Chanel calls a meeting to address some stark financial realities.
That's our net cash position. It's 1 million monthly costs and 750,000 in revenues. So we have a shortfall of $10,000 a day going forward. It is a problem.
Yeah, Ronaldo, if the situation doesn't improve, when do we run out of money?
January.
Yeah. You know, there are obviously no easy answers to fix this, but we can't continue to lose $10,000 a day. It's free to play, and monetization is definitely what we need to do to fix our bottom line at the moment. So the two teams obviously that are in the green are the Rocketeers and the Rebel Alliance. The other three, for those, we need to review their KPIs and then either go global or shut down those projects. Anything that slows us down, we want to, you know, take out a big hammer and smash them and get them out of the way.
Before we didn't really care about what was commercially viable or not. We just made games that were fun and assumed they would be commercially viable. You know, I guess I'm just used to the way it was before.
I wasn't holding people accountable before, and I'm certainly going to be doing that now, and it's going to filter all the way down.
For people that can't get on board with, I guess, my vision, we'll eventually part ways.
After 10 to 11 years here, I've decided to resign. The direction that Shaz wants to go in and the direction that I want to go in are like so far apart now. It feels like a totally different place now. It doesn't feel like the place that I started working at. You know, the whole free-to-play thing, like I never really was that keen on it. I'd really just kind of like want to make games that, you know, people pay once and they just have a really good experience instead.
You kind of embody the Voltron so much. We thought you should have this poster. We'll keep the figurines.
Wow.
So
that's super cool.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this really means a lot. Like, I guess the Voltrons was always like teamwork and turning into a giant robot.
You know, Baz is one of those guys that has definitely laid the foundation for you guys. I have a lot of respect for this guy, and I hope that you know, he's not going to be a stranger, and I wish him all the best with everything he does.
Thanks, Aaron.
Cheers, man. Good on you.
Trying to stay true to, I guess, your convictions and do the right thing. That's always tough, you know, to take the hard road.
Thank you.
With the global audience of mobile games in the billions, it's no surprise that Hollywood is tapping into the action.
Since I moved over here last year, I'm looking to turn these games into entertainment franchises. I think we went through a process where, I think the first generation guys, I guess, that were a part of that game were very protective about everything. I think over time, to be honest, most of those guys have left. And it's easier with fewer people involved now. Angry Birds, it's everywhere, plastered all over the billboards, buses, everything. We're pitching a Fruit Ninja film, and really it'll just make our job a lot easier. It's time to ramp it up.
Fruit Ninja has over 1 billion downloads, and that's incredible.
I was trying to sit between us.
We are doing a live-action family comedy version of Fruit Ninja. This is where we review the rules regarding our villain. We see how it works in the... This is a fun project for us because the brand has already made a big impact with an audience. We have to design this story to be in the same spirit as that.
When it lands on the banana in the hospital, we see the parasite go into the banana.
No, we don't. There's no parasite in the banana.
If we are casting like a Jackie Chan, then let's really use that.
Yeah, and then there's a Chinese actress she's like the biggest movie star.
Well, that's actually a really smart idea because if it's a massive market for the game. I think if we can do something to appeal to the Chinese audience.
Oh no, we're definitely doing that. We have to do that. The week after Memorial Day, late in that week is when we will hit the studios.
And they're excited.
Yeah, we're getting a great response.
Okay.
Good. All right. More to come.
Thanks.
All right.
It's really been a kickstart to the universe, I think, for Fruit Ninja, and will probably inspire more ideas across the game products. And we're starting to sign now more licensees for things like publishing, right? So books, apparel, t-shirts, clothes, all that kind of stuff. And some interesting things, some interesting kind of, weapon, like toy, high quality toy weaponry, That's been awesome.
Today's Friday. We're in Halfbrick's new offices. So I'm going to head down and do the first brick time for 2016.
I started out creating games.
Hey guys.
But what I'm doing now is creating a company, and I think creating a company is, just as creative an endeavor as creating games.
Welcome to this new place. Fantastic place, I might add. I don't know, what do you guys think? Yeah? The start of 2015 wasn't so great, but I think we laid a foundation that's going to make this year a pretty amazing year. So I want you guys to forget about the old Halfbrick, forget about all the stuff that came before, and I want you to focus your eyes on the future. For me, the old Halfbrick is dead. And, as I've said here, long live the new Halfbrick.
If Brisbane's taught me anything, it's that companies rise and companies fall, and you can go from the top of the pile to the bottom of the pile and the bottom of the pile to the top of the pile very, very quickly. But the people that you work with and the relationships you have actually persist.
The team that I'm working with now, Team Shifty, is made up of a lot of guys that I used to work with at Halfbrick. Motse, Josh and Marinade, the same guys we worked on Radical Repelling with. We've all broken away from Halfbrick and put our own money into this, so we're all really personally invested and set up our own company and our own office to make this game. Mr. Shifty is a top-down action game about a teleporting thief.
What the hell happened to his animation?
We did that thing. Mr. Shifty is going to come out on PC and on Xbox and PlayStation. If we sell 35 to 40,000 copies of the game, then we've made all our money back, and we've made enough to almost fund an entirely other game. It's stupidly small numbers compared to the millions of copies you had to sell with the mobile games. You're definitely playing heaps better. We're not trying to make a game for anyone in particular. This is totally a kind of game that we'd want to play, and we just hope it's going to find its audience out there.
It's definitely a game that I feel very proud of even now. It's a lot of hard work, but it's actually really rewarding.
Yeah, it's a different experience to making games at Halfbrick. I do bond very closely and strongly with people, and I think a lot of the people that have left Halfbrick I did have really strong bonds with, and sometimes it hurts. I always wanted to be like, you know, on the same page and the same level and everything like that, but when you are in charge of a company, you do get sort of ostracized in some ways. Yeah, I think you have to persevere if you want to do anything, you know, great in life. Yeah, go through all the trials and tribulations and hard times.
Dad, we just need 100 gems.
For what?
Just to buy the super best gun ever. Only one. Only one.
No.
It's 82 gems, Dad.
No, I don't think so.